Hey guys, it's Miko from MO Sound Lab, and today we're checking out the best high gain amplifiers in the world. As you can probably tell, we're looking at two different Soldano amplifiers today. What we have below here is actually an OG Soldano SLO-100, but this is a custom order from Soldano from the late 90s or early 2000s. This is a dual overdrive, so it actually doesn't have a clean channel, and back in those days you would also custom order a depth control if you wanted one. So this is the real deal, an old Soldano, and I could own it if I wanted to. It's actually here because I thought about buying it, but I decided maybe not. And the reason is because I actually have the Astro already. And mainly the reason is this is unusably loud. I've actually had this over 5 years ago when I did the ultimate amp test, when I had a Friedman B100 Deluxe, Mark V Mesa Boogie amplifier, a triple rectifier, a Marshall, you know, all the best amplifiers I could get, and this is the one that in my opinion sounded the best out of the bunch. I've always kind of lusted after this because I had it for a short while and didn't really appreciate it for what it actually was. Now I have it here, but while I have it here, man, is this small Soldano Astro delivering. So what I wanted to do is reamp the same takes with both of these amplifiers and show you what the difference is. Now, what I really love about the Soldano, the old one, is that you could actually leave the EQ settings all at noon. Besides the depth, I actually turn all the way off because I feel like it only brings off kind of the flub that you don't want. And I have the overdrive around 6, but that's it. Everything else is at noon. So I'm doing the same thing with the newer Soldano. Everything is at noon. The master on the old one is at 2, like I said before. It's head crushingly loud. The master on this one was at 5, so at noon. So this is a 20 watts amplifier. So to keep things comparable, that's the settings, that's all. We have a depth control for this. If you, by the way, don't know what an Astro is, this is probably one of the coolest amplifiers to come up ever. You have IR functionality. When you use it with the master at 0, you don't actually need to plug in a cabinet. It's just the most awesome modern amplifier. You have a clean channel and you have 2 different channels, which you can decide to have 3 different gain stages, which are called galaxies. So essentially, you could customize this to fit you completely. The way I run it is I have a clean channel and I have the ultimate high gain channel, obviously as the last channel, but in between I tend to kind of vary a mid gain channel, and I have 2 different options for that, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, let's jump to the comparison. I have this session going on here. Sorry I didn't name anything because hey, it's just a test, but when you are seeing this red here, that's when you're actually hearing the old SLO-100. When you are seeing this blue here, that's when you're actually hearing the new Astro. And I think they sound nearly identical. Maybe slightly brighter on the Astro, but you know, all the settings are at noon. I could have tweaked, but I decided not to because I wanted to show you how impressively close they are with just the settings at noon. You can tweak both of them to sound any way you want. But hey, let's listen to this sound sample in this comparison in the mix, and then after outside the mix, and I'll maybe talk a little bit more about why these are the best amplifiers in the world. Let's have a listen. Now let's acknowledge how amazing that sounds. What I'm running here, effects-wise, is nothing, and I'm not boosting it. You don't need to boost these amplifiers. That's what they just sound like with everything on Noon. Just trust Mike Soldano. I have no problem, no affiliation, but I have no problem telling when something is amazing like this. What I really love about the palm mutes and stuff like that when it comes to the high gain sound of the Soldanos is that they kind of are many times compared to a rectifier, and yes, I believe the first rectifiers were pretty much dead-on clones of the Soldano SLO-100. But I really love about the Soldano is that when it flubs, it's a very pleasant, almost martially sounding flub, whereas something like a rectifier, if it flubs too much, it's unusably muddy. Here I feel like it flubs sort of in a more pleasant way, where I actually want to have some of that flub in. I do love that flub also on the rectifier too, but I feel like I have to be very careful with the rectifier so that it doesn't go over the top. With this one, I feel like the flub is very natural sounding, almost like a plexi, full-on driven to the point of explosion, whereas a rectifier is very scooped and sizzly and all that stuff. Now let's have a listen to the guitar tracks on their own, and this is what the guitars sound like. Same test, just listen to the guitar. So let's have a listen. The old one first. I wanted to talk about how amazing the Soldano amplifiers actually are. Very underrated, even though they are rated quite highly. I think the Astro is one of the coolest amplifiers that has come out in decades. And very, very nice amplifier, very nice sound, and all the different gain stages and everything. It's an amazing piece of gear. If you are wondering if you should get this or the SLO, I mean, I would much prefer to get this, because actually you have so many different channels and you can use it in modern ways. You can use an IR out live, you don't have to mic up a cabinet. It's so amazing. So that's all. Really didn't have anything else to say. Let me know below what you thought about this comparison. I know the sounds are not identical, but I think I could get them identical if I wanted to. Just having the settings at Noon to give you a good, fair representation of how far they actually are sound-wise, and they are not that far. Thank you so much for watching this weird video. I've been Miko from MO Sound Lab. Go check out Soldano if you haven't. Where have you been? Thank you, subscribe, see you later, bye bye.